Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya has protested a High Court order stopping a committee leading reforms in the tea sector from commencing its work, arguing that the order was meant to stall the reforms. The ministry has already challenged the orders in court and has announced the commencement of implementation of new regulations in both the tea and sugar sectors to ensure that farmers get fair and decent earnings for both their labour and investments. Victor Kiprop with more.
While agriculture remains the backbone of Kenya's economy, contributing more than 26% of the country's GDP, low returns and mismanagement has left it as one of the least profitable agricultural sectors in the world. From being sugar sufficient in 1980 to satisfying just about half of its consumption needs today, sugar, just like coffee, tea and maize, have been on a steady decline, largely at the expense of small-scale farmers. The current government, just like the previous regimes, is rolling out ambitious reforms that it says will save the sector from collapse.
Government will not relent on this particular matter until this sector is nursed back to life and farmers are able to reap benefits from their sweat.
Last month, the Kenya Tea Development Agency KTDA, which is the biggest casualty in the ongoing reforms in the tea sector, obtained an order under a certificate of urgency blocking an 8-member team picked to oversee the reforms from commencing its work until a case it filed is heard and determined.
This particular court gave orders and said we give submissions and then the court will express itself in September. Then how urgent is that matter? What motivated the court to give those orders? Clearly, the intention is to stall the process, the reform process that we have undertaken. Luckily, the reforms are already on board.
The country's struggling sugar sector is also undergoing some reforms after 2 sets of regulations touching on the production of the crop in the country, as well as imports and exports, took effect over the last 2 months.
No importation will be done outside the regulations so that we strictly control what is imported with strict guidelines to ensure that what is imported is really for meeting the gap that is within the country, other than benefiting those who import and trade in sugar. 5 state-owned sugar mills, including Chemelil, Miwani, Muhoroni, Nzoia and South Nyanza, whose operations have been crippled by debts and mismanagement, are also being listed out as part of the reforms. Victor Kiprop, NTV Business.